We're back. This is Brews and Bets. Ty Slice, how we doing, brother?
What's going on, man? We just knocked it out of the park on the Quant Edge podcast. Ready to talk some bets now.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody knows this, but last week we basically hit just about every bet that we talked about. Ty, no?
Yeah, except you got Montana, and my girl couldn't stop a takedown.
Yeah, well, I actually bet it. It was part of one of my parlays. The bets that I posted on BetMMA.tips, the only one I got wrong was your boy actually got me back, Jonathan Martinez.
Yeah.
I bet, what the hell was his name? By decision. Luigi Berlin. I bet Luigi by decision. That was the only bet that I posted that lost. Now, we talked about two bets on the podcast that I didn't play that both hit. I don't know if you know this, but two submission plays. Who was it now? It was Lando Venata. Do you remember what that line was?
I don't know.
I think it was up there, man. I think it was, I want to say plus 1,100 or something like that. And he wound up winning by sub. And who was the other one? It was what's her name? Montana De La Rosa by sub, and I think that was like plus 350, and that one hit too. And I didn't play either one of those sub props. I should have thrown a unit on each one, but yeah, I hit all my parlays. I hit all my straight plays. I basically hit just about everything. So, and CG, who joined us last week, he may jump on. He's trying to get his kids to bed, but for the most part, he hit just about everything. Hit a couple like 5-6 leg parlays, like $50 parlays, and I think he showed me four $50 parlays, hit just about everything. They voided the bets he had on the main event, and I think he still won like 20 something hundred or 2,200 or something like that. So he had a real good week too. I don't know if that's gonna happen this week. Ty, did you make any plays yet?
No, I haven't. It's a Sunday card. I'm big into NASCAR for fantasy, so okay. I'm gonna kind of get what I'm going to be playing for that, and then decide how I want to attack this card. I'm not a huge fan of this card, top to bottom. I think I am as a fan, but in terms of bets and fantasy, I don't know how much I'm going to be playing. Yeah, just because there's a lot of uncertainty on the card.
There is a lot of uncertainty. I'll tell you two plays that I'm considering. I may even parlay it together. Again, we're just going to talk more or less about the main event, not the main event, the main card. So we'll start with the Andre Fili and Miles Jury fight. I do like the first fight of the night to go to decision. It's minus 280. And I do like the Escobar fight, Panay, to go to decision at minus 280. I may play those two fights and just parlay them and try to get like even odds there. The other fight I kind of like to finish is the Holtzman-Lenz fight. I kind of feel like one of those guys is going to catch each other. So I wouldn't mind playing the inside the distance prop. I don't know who it is, but they both kind of throw heavies. So with that being said, I wouldn't mind playing the inside the distance prop. Ty, anything that you like earlier on the card?
I actually want to start with Saturday night. I'm a big fan of Michael Page at minus 215 over Paul Daly on the Bellator card, and I'm actually more excited for that fight than any fight on the whole weekend. If you guys haven't seen Michael Page fight, check him out. He's a flashy, exciting fighter. I think that's going to be on DAZN, on the DAZN app.
Yeah, it will be.
Yeah, and I think they're doing a free trial if you guys don't have an account. If you do have an account, I think it's $10 a month or whatever. But
is that 3 rounds or 5?
I think Bellator is only doing 3 rounds for the main event. But man, that's going to be a fun fight. Paul Daly, everybody knows what he brings to the table. He hates wrestling, just wants to throw uppercuts and power shots. Michael Page has flashy kicks. They've been going back and forth talking shit to each other. Somebody's getting knocked out in the first round. And just to sell that fight even further, Michael Page, when he fought Cyborg's ex-husband, he threw a flying knee at him and hit him in the forehead and cracked his skull, and he couldn't come back to the United States for a couple of weeks because he had to have surgery to put a plate in his head. And, I mean, he throws with some serious power. So does Paul Daly. Somebody's going out. So I actually like that fight. Minus 215, you're getting great odds on him. If he could just avoid a big shot from Paul Daly, he should be able to just flash knockout Just pick him apart and just destroy him. That's my main bet for the Bellator card. I considered Mitrione and Sergey Haratonov. I kind of lean towards Mitrione, but lately his chin hasn't been holding up, and Sergey's a guy that could test his chin, so I'm not really betting right now on that fight. If I had to take anybody, I'd take Mitrione at -120, but I'm not confident. And that fight's actually on Friday. So there's a Bellator Friday, a Bellator Saturday, and then the UFC on Sunday.
Damn, Ty, all I'm going to tell you is I lead off with a parlay of two female 115-pound fights, and you go right to like the main events on Bellator. I didn't know you were going to do me like that, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more excited for the Bellator than the UFC this week, personally.
Okay, all right. So let's get into this main card again. I think there's a couple fights on this card that are not great. And I think there's a lot of these fights are favored to go to decision. One of the fights that I want to see the prop bet when it comes out is Manny Bermudez, Benito Lopez. I really like Manny Bermudez to get this fight to the ground and submit Lopez. I know you are a fan of Lopez's striking, and again, if he can keep it on the feet, Manny Bermudez is not a great striker. With that being said, if we can get under 1.5 rounds at a decent number, it's worth a look for a play. So I wouldn't mind looking at that. That's something that I wrote down when I was doing tape study. Other than that, I'm going to kind of stay away from everything else on this undercard. I'm really looking forward to my boys, Jimmy Rivera and Aljamain Sterling. I know you don't like these guys, but I do. They're New York, New Jersey guys, and I kind of like them a lot. But yeah, let's get into this main card. So Andre Fili and Miles Jury. Miles Jury is -150. Fili is +130. I really like this fight to go to decision, and I really like Andre Fili to win by decision. So again, these props aren't out yet. That's the only issue. Being that this is a Sunday card, I guess they didn't drop all the props. And again, we just had a Saturday card. But the prop I'm looking at is Fili by decision. I'll see what that number is. That's where I think this fight goes. And I think I'm going to get plus money on it. Although this is decision is -245, Fili's +130. So if I can get +200 on that, maybe I may put a play there. Ty, what do you think?
Well, so Andre Fili opened up at +155, and we're both in agreement that we thought that he would be a slight favorite in this fight. Since then, his number has dropped to +130. I say that don't even wait for that prop to come out. Take him at 130 before closer to fight time he becomes the favorite, or even money odds. You might as well get the plus money.
Right.
Fili should be the favorite in this fight. Jury hasn't been the same fighter since dropping to 145. And you kind of because I went on the Bellator rant, you kind of cut me off from the undercard. A few fighters that I do like on the undercard that I'm actually gonna probably place a bet on is Alexandra Albu at -145. I think that she's gonna do enough to take 2 rounds in that fight. I don't really love it, but I think the odds justify it. She's a better fighter. I think Holtzman will be able to stop Lintz's takedown. I like Holtzman at -170, and then I think that Andrea Lee is gonna take Evan Smith at -170.
Yeah, those are 3 decent plays, and again, you could even parlay some of those for plus money if you wanted to.
Yeah, I wouldn't parlay all 3 just because I think there is some questions in each one of those fights. With Albu, we don't know if she's has the gas tank to go 3 rounds. I think we're both in agreement there. You think she has a 1-round tank? I think 2. So there's a question there. With Holtzman, if he could keep the fight standing, he's going to pick Lentz apart. If he can't, Lentz should be able to grind out a decision. I personally think Holtzman's going to keep it standing and win easily. But there is a question there. With Andrea Lee, there's a lot of uncertainty with her. And Evan Smith is a huge step up in competition from who she's been fighting. So, I think that you could parlay all 3. I personally wouldn't do it because I think there's too many questions. And I'd rather try to hit 2 out of 3 and win some money.
And again, not for nothing, but all three of those, the odds are coming down. So the odds are coming in favor of Andrea Lee, Scott Holtzman, and Albu. So you're getting them at better odds than what they opened up at.
Yeah.
What do you think here? My bet for Vicente Luque and Brian Barberena is basically Luque inside the distance. And again, these lines haven't dropped yet. So he's minus 400. Inside the distance is minus 165. I kind of want to play Luque by himself inside the distance. I don't want a piece of Barberena. I don't think he's going to be able to catch him at all, because I think the only way Barberena wins this fight is a flash knockout. So I want to play Luque inside the distance if I play anything. Ty, you got any plays there?
You know what? I think Luque is going to win, but Barberena is really tough, and I don't think that he's worth it to take the inside the decision prop. I'd rather just take Luque to win in a parlay. The reason why I say that, I don't think Barberena has been finished. I was trying to bring it up here, but I was having some computer issues. Barberena is a tough fighter. Luque is the type of fighter that could stop somebody. Luque is the type of fighter that could stop somebody like Barberena, but I just don't know what the odds for him inside the distance would be, and if that's enough to justify it.
Yeah. I apologize. I'm a little under the weather, so I'm running for tissues every chance I get. But yeah, I don't disagree with what you said. I'm trying to look this up real quick about the Barberena.
No, I just looked it up. He's never been stopped.
Never been stopped. Okay.
No.
Yeah, you bring a good point. I'm not betting that. Let me mark that off. I liked it, but this is why sometimes it's good to talk out these bets on air. You bring up some things that I haven't considered.
It definitely could happen, but Barberena, we both know that he's a really tough fighter.
Yeah,
and I do think the option is there that Barberena could potentially drag this into deep waters and gas Luque out. And if that happens, Luque is not going to stop anybody if he even wins the fight. But I do think he's relatively safe. I would put him in parlays. I wouldn't do a prop on him.
Yeah, no, I do agree with that.
The next fight, I'm actually waiting for the prop, because I think Krone's path to victory is submission. He's a Cesar Gracie guy. I'm a Cesar Gracie guy. I don't know him personally, but I know that he is great. His striking, it's a little bit questionable, but I do know that he trains with the Diaz brothers. He trains with that whole camp. So his striking, he's at least getting some striking from high-level competitors. And he's really crafty on his takedowns. He doesn't have normal wrestling takedowns. He uses a lot of rolls. He uses a lot of unique style takedowns. So if Caceres gets close to him, I think that Caceres is going to end up on his back, and he might end up early. And Krone will just submit him once it goes to the ground. Caceres can't last that long. And so I'm waiting for the submission prop. I assume that it's going to be around minus 300. But in reality, Krone's right now at minus 370. If you could get him minus 300 at a submission, you're saving yourself 70 cents juice when that's his path to victory.
Yeah, and again, I don't disagree with you. I kind of like that Krone submission prop. This next fight, Cynthia Calvillo and Courtney Casey. Ty, I'm going to let you take this one because you made a very good point on the Quant Edge podcast. And again, if anybody's interested in our DraftKings breakdown for that, by all means, come on over to the DraftKings. Follow me at SCP Pirate 12. Follow Ty at TySlice23, and use code Brews or code UFC. Either one will get you a discount. So Ty, Cynthia Calvillo and Courtney Casey, where are you going with that?
Yeah, so when we initially talked about this, you were kind of on Courtney Casey, and I think I did enough to kind of sway your vote on this. Cynthia Calvillo, she looked great. She looked great versus Botello in her last fight, and there was a lot of questions for her coming into that fight, and she answered all those questions pretty drastically. Submitted her. Calvillo is a good high volume wrestler, and is a good grappler. Courtney Casey has only stopped 25% of the takedowns posed against her in her UFC career, and Calvillo is now the best wrestler that she's going to face. I think Calvillo is going to get her down early, get her down often. She's going to get a submission in the first or second round. I'm not opposed to putting her in a parlay with Luque and maybe adding one more leg, or waiting for the submission prop and taking her, or even a first or second round prop if there's one of those.
Yeah, and again, I don't want to give out too much of our DraftKings picks here. I was just surprised by the wide line. You know, I do think that Calvillo was going to win this fight, but I'm surprised with the wide. I thought the line would be more like a minus 180, minus 200.
Well,
minus 325. I was a little surprised.
What I just noticed in the betting line is that this fight is favored to go to decision at minus 215. So if you do take Calvillo by submission, like I think that you might get plus money on that.
Yeah, I think that you would. I think you would have at a line like that. And again, that's a great bet, and she won her last fight via submission. So that is a great bet. I'm gonna write that down. Let's see what kind of money we get on that one. Submission win, bet it. James Vick and Paul Felder. I just realized this line flipped, and Paul Felder is now the underdog. Again, it was razor thin. It was real close all week. I'm on Paul Felder here. I think he's going to wind up being able to win a decision. I think he has a chance to finish. I think James Vick he's kind of been figured out, right? People know if they crowd him, they can kind of get in his face and put some punishment on him. They know that James Vick, he likes to play against the cage, around the outside of the cage, and use his elusiveness and his length. He tries to stay out of harm's way. Unfortunately, I think Paul Felder is going to be able to crowd him, get the best of him, get inside, and possibly get a takedown. And I think when James Vick goes to his back, he kind of uses his rubber guard. He uses his length to kind of threaten off his back. And I don't think his BJJ is that good. I think Paul Felder is going to be able to stay on top, get some ground and pound in, and win rounds. And I think Felder wins this via decision. Ty, what do you think here?
So, in full honesty, I have no idea how this fight's going to go. Either Vic's going to stay on the outside and pick him apart, or Felder's going to crowd in, push him up against the cage, maybe trip, take down, turn it into an ugly fight, and grind him out that way. But no matter how I see this fight going, I see this going to a decision. And right now, the fight going to decision bet is minus 165, and I feel that that's a really good value.
So yeah, no problem with that bet at all. Obviously, I like Felder by decision, but by decision is where I think this bet goes. Main event. I know you got a little inside info. You're trying to get on the way, and you did a little bit of research. I was able to watch that video. So Kane obviously likes the 1-2 combination with the high right kick. He's been working on that in his training video. So again, this is Cain Velasquez. The price is coming down on him. He's minus 165. Francis Ngannou is plus 145. And again, anyone who plays Francis Ngannou, you don't play Francis straight. You play him by KO, TKO. There's no reason to play him any other way. So again, if there's any added value to that, this inside the distance is minus 690. So this fight is more or less favored to finish. So if you're going to play Francis, get the extra points. Maybe you get a plus 200 KO, TKO. That's where my money's going. But Ty, do you agree? And tell me what you're thinking about Kane.
Yeah, so we kind of talked about this, so I don't want to give too much away. But one of my buddies, he actually knows somebody that trains with Kane. I'm waiting to talk to him, because what I noticed in the video that Kane released, he doesn't look like the same fighter that he was. He was really slow. Just didn't look very fluid. And for me, I don't really think that he should be a favorite in this fight. And I understand that the public perception is that Ngannou can't stop a takedown, which I don't really see that's true. He stops, I think, 80% of the takedowns posed against him, versus high-level wrestlers like Curtis Blades and Stipe Miocic. And those two fights, with the Blades first fight and the Stipe fight, I think the public has a notion that Ngannou can't stop a takedown, which is just not true. The only time he gets taken down is when he gasses. Kane is the type of fighter that could push him into gassing, no doubt. But is that going to happen here? Is Kane going to be even half the fighter he was 3 years ago? He's coming off back surgery. He's coming off knee injuries. There's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of questions surrounding him. And so I'm waiting to talk to my buddy just to get some inside information on there. Kind of little teaser. Once I talk to him, I'm going to release whatever I have heard about him on the Quant Edge in our Discord chat. So, even if you plan on betting this fight, if you plan on doing fantasy, it's worth checking it out because, like the John Jones thing, when I told you about the Gustafsson fight, I do know a lot of the fighters. I know a lot of their management. And sometimes I get information that a lot of other people don't. And I release it on there. And so I think that would be beneficial, because it's information you're not going to get in other places.
Yeah, and again, I'm on Francis Ngannou right now, and I was kind of surprised, to be honest with you, when this fight was announced. I was kind of shocked that Cain Velasquez and Francis were announced. It kind of leads me to believe that they were kind of planning maybe Cain Velasquez versus Curtis Blades, knowing that the heavyweight belt was going to be kind of up for grabs with what Cormier was going to do, and they kind of expected maybe that Blades was gonna win that fight, and I think they just kind of threw Francis Ngannou into this fight here. Any idea, Ty? Why do you think this fight got made?
So I actually think that with Cormier talking about retirement, I think that he's talking about retirement because Cain's coming back. So they had an agreement years ago that when Cain was champion, that Cormier wasn't going to go after his belt. That's why he dropped down to 205, because Cormier signed on to be Cain's wrestling coach. And so he signed on with the understanding that he wasn't going to have to go up against the guy that he was pretty much teaching everything to. And so Cormier, he didn't want any issue with that, so he dropped to 205. Once Cain was out, he came back up to heavyweight, won the title. I think that Cormier doesn't want to cut back down to 205. And now that Cain's back, I kind of think that he's prepping for Cain to go on the title run. And so I'm kind of leaning towards Ngannou, like just off the top of my head. But with all this stuff, I don't know. With Cain being the favorite, Cormier just came out and said that once he retires, Cain was going to be the champion. It seems like a lot of people are preparing for Cain to be propelled into that spotlight, to get another crack at the title. So there's just a lot of uncertainty right now, and I'm not going to put my money on something that I'm really uncertain about like that. So I kind of want to just see the weigh-in. I want to see the open workout. I want to talk to my buddy. Before I put my money down, I'm gonna go through all that and kind of do my due diligence on it.
You think there's anything to the idea that Cormier is injured too, and he may not be able to give him the same looks? Do they have people in the gym that can kind of make sure he's ready for Ngannou and sparring?
Yeah. So at AKA, he trains with Blagoy Ivanovic.
Okay.
He trains with Luke Rockhold. He trains with Cormier, and I know Cormier he's pretty much his number one training partner, but he's also his wrestling coach. And so he's not getting a lot of the boxing from Cormier. He's getting a lot of the wrestling advice. Javier Mendez is his boxing coach. He's going through that, and he does have a high level camp around him. So, there's just a lot of uncertainty, and I can't really get behind either one of the guys right now, just until I have some things a little bit more clear.
Yeah, and that's totally understandable. So as Ty said, if you want any of that inside information on the Quant Edge, I told him this week my article, I'm going to basically leave the write-up on the main event up to him. He can just take it and we'll cut and paste it right into my article. I'll give Ty credit for that, because obviously anything he gets there is going to be better than what I can come up with from film study. Now, my pick up for the fight is going to be Francis Ngannou. And again, for the most part, if you want that DraftKings breakdown, the Quant Edge, promo code Brews or promo code UFC. Ty, anything else you have planned this week? My prize picks.
Yeah, so I've actually signed on to do the projections on my prize picks. If you guys sign up with the code Brews, you get I think you get a $50 free game and 100% match bonus. If you sign up without the code, you get a 50% match bonus. So, I mean, it's worth it to sign up. Give us a little kickback, and they're my projections. So if you don't agree with what I say here on the podcast, definitely go against me. Try to win some money off of it.
Yeah, the challenge accepted. once it's live in Jersey, I actually can't wait, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna leave it there for Brews and Bets. We went through the main card, a couple bets that we like. By all means, hit us up. A couple of people hit us up in the I guess more critiques rather than anything else last week. I guess it was critiques. But again, we hit just about all our bets last week, so I don't know what the critiques were. But I'm a little under the weather here, so I'm gonna go get some NyQuil in me and get some rest. Again, the Quant Edge, our podcast is gonna be up probably later tonight or tomorrow. My article will be up. Ty does projections for the Quant Edge, and the projections were pretty much on point last week, and then he's got my prize picks. So
yeah,
again,
we actually used my projections and optimized them and maxed out the $5 game, and we doubled our money pretty much.
I think we more or less doubled the money. Yeah, we're gonna go again, right? We're gonna go max enter the 71 entries at $5, and we'll see what happens. Yep. The Quad Edge team, boys. All right, we're signing off this week. Everyone have a good week. Win some money. And again, this is a Sunday card, so Brews and Bets will be up a little bit earlier this week.